Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Idiot Quilter with me, Stephen. And I just want to bring you up to date on several different issues that have come up lately. And I want to thank all of those of you that have been liking this video series, because it is attracting a few more people. And that's what it's all about for me. The more people I can help out with problems that they may be having with their sewing adventure, the better. I'm by no means an expert, but I share what I learn, and I learn from my failures, and I share my failures with you as well as my successes. So today, excuse me as I clear my throat, today I want to show you my Janome 15,000 version 3 of the machine. Now, you know, if you've been following me regularly, that I've been having a lot of problems with my 15,000 Janome embroidery / sewing machine. And I think for now that issue has been resolved. At least I have a machine that now works the way it's supposed to work. And that is, as I've already mentioned this in a previous episode, that the store that I deal with, Ultimate Sewing, here in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, the area that I live in, Shirley, the owner of that store, has been very supportive, is an excellent dealer, has gone to the nth degree for me on this whole problem. And so I now have what is technically a new machine to replace my very poorly working version 2 Janome 15,000. The machine I now have was the store's demo model, but has very little mileage on it, so to speak. And there are a couple of differences about this machine that I want to point out to you. Excuse me, sneezes suddenly. Don't worry, I don't have a COVID. I also want to talk about a little excursion that Walter and I went on a couple of days ago. We did some fabric buying in an area that's about an hour and a half away from us. And I'm going to show you what I bought there. And then I'm going to talk about the way I'm now storing my patterns. Nothing revolutionary about this, but a neat little trick that I have figured out that I think is working for me. And then I want to talk about some Christmas projects I have in mind, besides the ones I've already shown you, the ones I've been working on, but these are some new ideas I have. And I want to talk about my new counter and drawers that I just ordered today. So a lot in this episode. So let's start by looking at what I find a little bit different from the version 2 of the Janome 15,000 with the version 3. And to do that, I have to reset my camera so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so this is the Janome 15,000 that I'm now using, the one that has replaced my original machine. And what's different about this, and sorry, I'm going to have to move the camera by hand for all of this, but is the threading system. There's a slight difference, and I'll show it to you. If you look right in here, there is this little steel bracket, a little bit of a V. I'm trying to get in close so you can see. You can see there's this little gap down in here, and you can see my threads going through there. That is not how the version 2 threaded. The version 2 went through this top. This part up here was a little longer, extended basically the same length as this piece here, and you ran your thread through that channel, kind of gave it a little tug down so it snapped in underneath this plastic piece, and then it wound around just like normal. Now, the reason I like what they've done here is that when I first got the machine, I did not realize that that thread, when you put it through this channel, had to run underneath this plastic piece. And then doing some more research on it, I found that you should hear a click when you get it down underneath here. And I wasn't always doing that. It was sort of hit and miss. I thought I was doing it correctly. Now, that I don't think was the reason why I was having trouble with the machine, but it may have been the reason why sometimes I'd get thread breaks, because essentially what would happen is the thread would, for some reason, back up on itself, and I'd get a loop of thread up here. And because of the way this worked, at least, and I'm not a technician, so, you know, if a technician's watching this, I may be saying all the wrong things, but this is from my observation. The tension would get screwed up here, and it would come off the take-up lever. So you try to get this in focus. It's this one. This lever right here. The thread would come off of that, and then that would cause you problems, especially when you're embroidering something. So With this, I find that doesn't happen as often. It still happens on occasion, but this seems to, for some reason, this little steel V down in here seems to add tension or adjust the tension of the thread as it's going through the machine a little better than the system they had before. Now, what does that mean to me? Well, that means that maybe Janome knew there was a problem with the version 2. Well, they came out with a version 3. Why did they do that? Now, they kind of tell you they came out with the version 3 because it came with a quilting hoop and a ruler foot for ruler foot quilting and that kind of thing. And they were making that all sound like that was an incredible upgrade. And yes, it was a good upgrade, but they didn't mention anything else. And of course, this piece was not changed on with the upgrade kit. So I'm thinking they thought this was a way to handle that problem. Of course, Janome's not going to tell you that one way or the other. They're not going to admit to that. That is essentially the only difference between this machine and my version 2 machine that I can physically tell. There may have been other changes they made internally as well, but I don't know what those are. So as I said, right now, this machine is not giving me any problems. It's working fine. Yes, occasionally my thread breaks, but thread breakage can be caused by all kinds of different factors and is actually normal on any sewing machine. So I'm not worried about that. And it's not happening that often. Like, it's not every time I sit down to sew I have a thread break. No, far from that. So I am pleased right now with this one, and I'm hoping that Janome figures out the problem with the version 2 for other people, because right now my problem has been solved by simply giving me a new machine. And now I'm going to take the camera and put it back in my original position so I can talk about the next thing on my agenda. Okay, so I'm going to kill two birds with one stone with this little video insert here. I'm going to post this on both of my Idiot Quilter and on here on the vlog. So I'm sorry if you watch both of those and this is a repeat. You can just fast forward through this depending on which one you're watching it on. But I thought this was easier to show you what I had purchased very recently. So I went off on an excursion, Walter and I did, down to an area called Prince Edward County. And in Prince Edward County, there's a lot of wineries. It's kind of east of us by about an hour and a half. And there's, you know, nice little towns. And there's one place called Belleville. And Belleville has two quilting stores that I know of. One I have been to before, the other I had never been to before. And the one I had been to before was the first one on our stop, and I bought a lot of fabric there, and it's called Fun with Stitches. The prices there are a little bit higher than what I'm used to paying here at Ultimate Sewing in Oshawa, but not that much so. They ranged in price from $16, $17, $99 a meter up to about $20, $21.99 for a meter, depending on what you were buying. But their selection is great. They have all kinds of things. So I'm going to show you what I bought there. And the other one we went to was called Craft Village. I had never been to this one before. Much smaller store, selection not as good. They also had a lot of wool, so if you were a knitter, I think this would be a great destination for you. But their prices were fantastic. The lowest I've seen anywhere. Most of their fabric was $12.99 a meter, and I'm used to paying $15 a meter. So that was really good. So I stocked up on a few things there. And in both cases, both stores, I was looking for Christmas fabrics. So I'm going to show you what I got there. But before I do, I'm going to show you something else that I just got from the quiltstore.ca. I ordered this online. I wanted a ruler, a 2.5-inch ruler that was really long. So they were the only place I found one online that was Canadian, and that the price was fairly reasonable as well as the shipping. So $29.99 got me this sucker, and it's broken. How nice. I just realized that. I haven't even taken it out of the package. I'm going to have to send them a note about that. Great. Anyways, this is a 2.5-inch by 24.5-inch ruler. And why did I want one this size? Because 2.5-inch strips are very common in quilting. And although I have a stripology ruler that allows me to cut them, I have to fold the fabric over about 4 times to get to fit into that ruler. Whereas this one, I can do it basically half the width of fabric. A width of fabric is about 44 inches. This is 24.5. So that's why I got it. And now I'm very sadly disappointed. I'm going to have to send them an email and tell them that it came to me broken. So I'm going to do that after I finish this. I also ordered some fabric. Since I was paying 12 bucks for shipping anyways, I thought I should load up a little bit. They had this on sale. It's a piece of batik. I only got 1 meter of it, but I kind of liked it, so I threw that in with the order. Okay, here's the stuff that I got. So let's start with Fun with Stitches. Nice little bag. That is full. And what did we buy? I'm just going to pull them out one by one and take only a few seconds on each. I bought some Janome fabric. Now, you would have seen in one of my previous videos that I had bought some Janome fabric before, and I think I bought only 1 meter and it was in flannel. This I bought 2 meters of because I thought it would go with the other one quite well, and apparently you can mix flannel with cotton without any problem. So I was on the hunt for Christmas fabric, so I got that. Very nice. This is not a Christmas fabric, but I couldn't resist it. I really liked the colors and the pattern in that. It's old Quilter. That might make a nice shirt. Again, this is a Christmas fabric, but could work with other things as well. Of course, some traditional green and with a little gold. A smaller print of poinsettias, actually holly with berries. And I bought some more blue because I have some blue, and I like to move out of the traditional Christmas colors. And there was one blue that I bought some time ago that I bought it online, and it's a Christmas fabric, and it's not really what I thought it was going to be, but I'm thinking it might work with this, and that would sort of offset it. And then this is not a Christmas fabric either, but I just thought it was great. It's from Northcott. I've bought lots of their fabric before, but I really like the colors in it. And that one I think I can use with a lot of things. So that's the fabric I bought at Fun with Stitches. Now, what did I buy from the other place? Big paper bag full. So let's just pull out. I did buy a pattern because I saw these. They had some on display and I thought they were really cute, and I asked if there was a pattern, and this is the pattern, and it looks like this pattern makes a Christmas wreath as well. So I got that, and I'll show you in future videos how that turns out. I also bought little packages of embellishments, maybe for the tree, because she had little ornaments hanging from the tree, just little miniature things about the size of these bells. She didn't have any in the stores. She said she just got them at Michael's. So I'll look at my stash and maybe I'll go to Michael's and get some, because I thought that was a nice finishing thing. Then I found these. These are fat quarters, and actually, I'm not even sure if they're fat quarters. Yeah, they are. But I just thought the colors were fantastic. So I bought 4 of these, and I forget what these got, $4.50 a piece. That's a little higher than I usually pay at Ultimate Sewing for fat quarters, but I've never seen any that look like this at Ultimate Sewing. Okay, so I told you that the fabric at this place, Craft Village, was like $12.99 a meter. So I stocked up on some of the Northcott, what I would call blenders, because these never come amiss. And I got some orange, and I've got some red, and I got some gray, and I got, what else did I get? I got some blue, and I got some purple. So all of those, they'll go with all kinds of things. And yes, I did buy Christmas fabric. Oh, before I show you the Christmas fabric, I also bought a couple of meters of a tone-on-tone kind of a white, because these never come amiss. I use them a lot in many quilts. So I really need to go to Ultimate Sewing and get a bolt again, because I do go through it quite regularly. Okay, so I only bought 2 Christmas fabrics there. I bought this one, a little bit more vintage. It caught my eye. I'm sure I can work it into something. And then I bought something I never buy. I bought a panel. Now, remember the Janome fabric that I bought and I talked about just a moment ago? Not sure what I'm going to do with it. Well, I've come up with an idea. I bought this panel because if I get it unwrapped here, yeah, get it the right way up. I bought this panel because it has gnomes on it. And what I'm thinking of doing is I can do a border with the other gnome fabrics all around this, do some free motion quilting on it, and it'll make a nice wall hanging, actually a door hanging for the front door of my house at Christmas time. I think it's kind of cute. So as I said, I don't usually buy panels, but I did this time. So those were my purchases on my fabric day out excursion, or day out fabric excursion, or just a day out. It was nice. Okay, so as you can see from my fabric haul there that I did spend a lot of money, about 600 bucks on fabric. I never do anything halfway. And so that has presented me with a new problem. And I'm going to come to that problem in a minute, but I just want to say something further about the broken ruler that I started that segment with. As I said, I discovered it at the same moment as you saw it, that the ruler was broken. I did not notice that when I took it out of the box it came in from the courier box yesterday, because it was later in the day when we got home. It was sitting on my doorstep waiting for me, and I just brought it in, took it out, and left it on my sewing table, and I didn't notice that that was broken. Also, I didn't notice it because I hadn't taken the wrapping off it, and the wrapping is still on it, and it's that top part of the ruler that obviously somebody stood on it at some point. Now, I don't know if this is the fault of the courier. I mean, it was in a box, but it was a narrow box that it came in, easy enough for, you know, someone to step on the edge of the box. That would have done it. I think it's highly unlikely that the company, the quiltstore.ca, would have sent it out to me in that condition and think I would notice. I don't think at all that that was their fault. Either that or it was like that, but because the wrapping wasn't off of it, whoever packaged that up didn't notice it. Because like I said, I unpackaged it here and I didn't look at it because I didn't inspect it at all. So whatever, I have a broken ruler that I paid $30 for. So I have sent an email to the quiltstore.ca. I only sent it a few hours ago, so I haven't heard anything yet, and I wouldn't expect them to get back to me that quick, but I hope they do get back to me. It would be nice if they got back to me by the end of the day. I want to get this resolved, and I've told them what the problem is. I gave them my order number, and I'll have to send them a picture of it if they so need that. So I'll see what they tell me what the next step is. I'm fairly confident that they will make things right because I have been very impressed since I've started ordering from them with their service. So we'll see. This is kind of a test of how well their customer service works. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do is show you how I'm storing my patterns. Now, I collect patterns, okay? I buy patterns when they grab my eye. I never get around to doing the quilts. In fact, it's kind of ridiculous. I'm hoarding patterns. That's what it looks like. But I've got a lot. I probably have close to 200 patterns. Many of them are freebies that I get from various websites. You know, like Jordan Fabrics is a YouTube station for a fabric store in, or a quilt store out in Oregon in the USA. And then of course everybody knows Missouri Star Quilt, and both of those companies offer free patterns all the time. And they usually have tutorials to go with them, and that's where I see it and I think that's kind of cool. And I download the free pattern and then I put it away. And do I ever get to it? No. You know, squirrel kind of a thing here, right? Ooh, there's a nice pattern. Let's make that one. Oh wait, there's another one. We could do that one. Oh wait, there's one over here. So I have a big collection. So I'm going to show you what I've been doing. Now, I'm hoping my microphone cord is long enough here. Oops. As I pull the camera off its tripod, I'm just going to reach over here and grab my box of patterns. Okay, try not to step on my microphone cord. Okay, and I see I'm a little crooked, so I'm just going to straighten myself up. Bear with me, please. All right. Here is my basket of patterns. Now, the other day I reorganized these. So I have the section of, possibilities that I want to do. Then I have just ones that are block patterns. So index card here. I have another one that says complete it. That means the ones I've actually done. And then I have other projects. So table runners, novelty items, things like that. But what I did that's really helped me out here is these, the little plastic bags. You know how a pattern will come? Let me find a commercial pattern here. I do have a commercial pattern in here, I must have. Yeah, when I want it, I can't find it. And I've got lots of commercial patterns in here. All right, let's find one. Oh, here's some. Okay. When you buy a pattern in a quilt store, they often come like this, right? Kind of compact, very neatly put all together with a picture of what the quilt looks like. Well, the ones that I download from the internet that are freebies are often you just print them out on your printer. So I fold them in half, staple them together, and I just threw them in here. Well, they're getting kind of dog-eared as you go through this pile. So I thought, well, it would be nice if I could get some of these bags. Well, Amazon to the rescue. Went on Amazon, took the measurements of the bags, and there we go. Exactly the same bags, and they weren't that expensive. I think you got 100 of these bags. They're 9 by something. 9 by 6, something like that. They fit the patterns perfectly. They keep them protected. And for 100, I think it cost $18.99 Canadian. I bought 200 of the bags. And they came like this. This is what I have left over. As I told you, I have close to 200 patterns in here that I'll never get to. And they just fit in this little basket, which is a plastic basket I bought at the dollar store. Now, I don't have them in alphabetical order. I don't have them by color. I don't have them by technique. I suppose you could do all of that, but really, life is short. Do I really want to go into that kind of thing? That's the time I could be used for sewing. But it just neatened it up a little bit and protects them. And yeah, so that was just my little tip. Get some of these bags if you've got, especially if you got freebie patterns that don't come in a bag. Then this might be a good way to save your patterns. Okay, that's all I want to show you on that. So what have I got next on my agenda? Oh yeah, okay, current projects. Well, you saw current projects last week, the last time I did an Idiot Quilter. But today when I showed you some of the fabrics I bought, I showed you this one with the gnomes. Okay, now I don't usually buy novelty fabrics. I'm not really into that kind of thing, but these are so damn stinking cute, really. And I thought, well, I could do something with them. Well, the thing was, I also have the same one in flannel. So these are the same pattern, one in flannel, one in cotton. Now, I bought the flannel stuff first, and I bought 1 meter of it. I have never worked with flannel before. And I had said to the woman the day that I bought this in the particular store I was in, I said, I've never worked with flannel. And okay, I said to her, excuse my ignorance, but if you use flannel, do you have to make your whole quilt out of flannel? And she says, no, you can mix and match with cotton. It's no problem. People do it all the time. So I got thinking, well, it's got a different texture. It might be kind of nice. You could do some fussy cutting with this. And then when I saw this the other day, I thought, well, why not buy a couple more meters, even though this is in cotton, and then, I've got 3 meters of this stuff, and that I can get, a quilt out of, along with maybe some other things mixed in it. But then I went to one of the other stores I went to, and I already showed you this. I bought this panel. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to have it, because it gave me an idea. I don't usually work with panels, but I'm thinking for Christmas time, I have double doors at the front of my house, and I'm thinking, and they're protected by glass because there are storm doors in front of it, and I was thinking I could make this would be just the right size to hang on one of those doors as a Christmas decoration. So I'm going to use the panel, and I'm going to use the Gnome fabric, possibly in and around as a simple border. I'm not going to get too elaborate. Right now I'm thinking a solid color, very thin, maybe 1-inch border all the way around this panel, and then around it just simple squares. I don't know, maybe 2.5-inch squares, something like that. Have to measure my doors to see what I can make work there. And probably not even bind it. I'll probably do a pillowcase style type of binding backing to it, and I'll just do a little easy walking foot, maybe go to free motion quilting on the panel itself as well. Something very simple as a decoration. I'm actually kind of excited about the idea because I've never really worked with panels before. I mean, I couldn't really see the point of a panel. That's, to me, is not really a quilt. But I guess it is. If it's got layers, if it's got quilting on it, it's a quilt. So I'm going to give myself a try at this at some point. The other Christmas project involved the pattern that I bought, and I already showed that to you, the one with the Christmas tree, and they were so darn stinking cute. So I can't wait to get started on that as well. And I think I've said this before, Christmas is not one of my favorite times of the year. It's really not. And yet, I'm getting excited about Christmas just for making all these things. And you know, I've already started on a Christmas quilt, a small one, a lap quilt. So yeah, and I'm working on a table runner right now as well. I showed you those in the last episode of the Idiot Quilter. I showed you the applique pieces I was working on. Well, I'll show you here. Let me grab. Okay, I got to move the microphone. Where are they? Okay, here they be. All right. I need a wireless microphone. Yeah, that would help a lot. Okay, I think I'm crooked again. Probably pulled it with the microphone when I had my back turned. Well, I don't know if that's any better, but anyways. Okay, so I've started making the squares. Now, originally I didn't know what I was going to do with these. Remember these? Okay. So I started playing around, and I created this. Now, this is a fairly large block, and I've got 2 of them made, and you can see that I'm alternating the background colors between white and red. This one's got the white points. This one has, okay, I need another hand. And this one has the red points, okay? So I am thinking I've got 4 of these applique pieces. I'm going to make 2 more of these blocks with the other appliques, so I'll have 4 in total. Sew them together, put a small border around them in a color, and then I'm going to do prairie points all the way around, or prairie points along the edges, and at the ends figure out how to do, the pointed end pieces. The kind of thing you sometimes see tassels hanging from. I don't think I'm doing tassels. I don't like tassels. And it's a table runner, a Christmas table runner. And it might make a nice gift for somebody, like the neighbors or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it. I mean, I've got table runners I made last year for Christmas, so, how many do you need? But that's my plan now with that. And, of course, I do some quilting on it as well and all of that. So those are some plans I've got for some more Christmas items. It's August. Not that far away. Not when you're doing sewing like this. This takes some time. Plus, 100 other projects to do too, right? Okay, now, next thing that I'm really excited about, which is probably going to take up the rest of my week, is that I have ordered an IKEA set of drawers. Actually 4. They're the Alex drawers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera off the tripod right now because I think this will be easier. And I'm just going to turn you around and show you what I'm talking about. And don't mind my hand. I got to find the thing. Okay, where is the little flippy-do? I don't know. Just give me a second here. Okay. This mess that you see right here is my other area. It's more of a storage area than a work area. It is pretty much filled. I have these Ruscott carts from IKEA that I've had for a while. They're full. I can't get anything more in it. I'm overflowing on batting and everything in this area. This area is a bloody mess. I've even tried to get more space by getting a couple of shelf tier things. Well, I don't know what you call them, underneath that brown shelf, and found this old board laying around, put it on top, and then I'm piling things up on top of it too. So it's just becoming a mess and very unruly. Now, originally I had planned that my craft room eventually would become my sewing room, and that plan is still there, but it's all it is a plan in my head. Because right now, given COVID, I do need professionals to come in and do some stuff. It means gutting the room, basically, ripping up the carpeting, putting in new flooring, all kinds of stuff that Walter and I cannot do on our own. And not to mention expense. We're talking several $1,000s, like $5,000 probably by the time I'm done. So major renovation. And someday, yes, maybe. But for now, that's not going to happen. But this is not working out. So I have purchased 4 IKEA cabinets, Alex cabinets. Alex cabinets are like these ones that I keep my embroidery thread in, but of course they're shorter ones. They have a couple of drawers about the size of the ones at the top here, and then if you notice down here further, the drawers are a little bigger. They have a couple of those in it as well. They're a little deeper. So I bought 4 of those and a tabletop to go across it. The tabletop is 78 inches. So it's going to extend from that filing cabinet all the way over to about the edge of where this table is now. Essentially, I'm building a wall between my sewing area in the workshop to Walter's mess that you can't see back there. Of course, a lot of this has got to be all cleaned up. The filing cabinet, we've decided it's going to turn the other way so that I can put my table right up against the filing cabinet and the drawers will be able to open because they'll be flipped the other way around. And I'll do some other things too to make this whole spot look a little bit more, well, neater. I don't like a mess. This drives me nuts right now with my current projects and things like that. What the drawers are going to give me is space to put the things that are in these Ruscotts down here, but also I'm hoping it'll give me more storage space for fabric because I have a lot of it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all my batting at this point, but I do have an idea for that too in a different area here. So we ordered them online. We're picking them up tomorrow, and then there's some assembly required. Luckily, Walter's had experience putting these Alex things together, so I'm going to leave it to his expertise. And I just think it's going to make the whole area look a lot nicer. Cost-wise, it's not cheap, but in comparison to having to gut a whole room and do it up, this is only costing me about $500 with it. So, yeah, it's still a lot of money, but you know, a little bit more affordable than right now going to a complete home renovation kind of a thing. So that's my plan, and that's what I'm going to do. And what I'm going to just do is I'm just going to turn you. Okay, so that's pretty much all the stuff I want to talk about today. Anything is a follow-up from the last video. I've already talked about the Janome 15,000 and my projects and things. So nope, I guess there's nothing else to tell you right now. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Idiot Quilter, and stay tuned for another one soon. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.